This is the Conrad Alert. Civil defense information will be broadcast at 6:40.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Y2K, how can we prepare?
Stop a few of their machines and radios. Throw them into darkness for a few hours.
We are fighting for our lives. My family must survive.
For 5 years, 1,000 gallons of gas, air filtration, water filtration.
Coming at you live on YouTube from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim. Today is October the 10th, 2024, and this is episode 465 of Workshop Radio. How the hell are all my fellow delinquents out there? I know it has been a while since we have had an actual official live of Workshop Radio. Thank you for hanging in there for the period of time that we had some craziness going on here. It was time to build the business. You know all about it. We'll dig into it later on, but holy hell, is it good to be back. Great to see you folks. So for the record, I have a special co-host this evening hiding in the background, and hang on and I'll bring him up here. There we are. Mr. Alexovich, how art thou?
What's going on, man?
It's good to see you. We haven't seen each other in months. Yeah. Man, I said to Curtis the other day, we were running around. We had a half a day to kill in Nashville before we left. And I said, you know, it's weird. We're going to be in Nashville running around doing our thing. And in 12 hours, we're going to be back in Alberta. It's the weirdest thing. Like, I love to drive, but holy man, did it ever make life a little easier this time to be able to make a shorter trip.
How was the hockey game, bud?
Did you happen to see the score? Are you being a dick? No. Okay. So for anybody who really cares, and it really doesn't matter, we decided that we were going to rush back and go to the opening game of Oilers season this year. We had our seats and we got there and we sat down, and within a few minutes it was 2-0 and then 4-0. And then 5-0, and the final score was 6-0, and not in our favor. So there you go. Oh, it was not a fun game, but we survived, and we got home at around 2 a.m. last night, and I kind of slept, kind of didn't, whatever. So, but we had anyway. So times are good. We just had a hell of a time down in Tennessee, didn't we, Brian?
Yeah. Oh man. It went by really fast. It was a lot in a very short period of time.
It was. I guess you could say it was lots, couldn't you? Oh, boy. Yeah. That was, yeah. Oh, dad joke. Shut up, Tim.
Back in the motherland, you had to just start having comedy hour, right?
No doubt about it, bud. You know how it is. But yeah, I run the numbers. And for those who wonder, we're going to tonight, if you're wondering what we're going to do, well, we're going to chat a little bit. We're going to give what are we going to call it? Gully days? Is that what we decided on? Or
I mean,
did you like that?
It just, I said it or thought it or something, and it's kind of been rattling around in my head. I thought it sounded pretty good.
We got Pippin in here, who survived the great apocalypse that was not, or was. I guess it depends on where you were located in Orlando area. So he came through relatively unscathed. And he says, there needs to be a parody song, Glory Days, changed to Gully Days. Random thought. And now I know what Brian's doing, because he's about to type that into an AI program.
No, I just got to take a note of it.
That's all right. Here, I'll leave it up for a minute. There you go. So we had, for everybody who's wondering at Gully Days, we had a grand total of 26 delinquents, up from, was it 18 last year, 17 or 18, something like that?
Yeah, I think it was 18 on one day.
Yeah. So we had, and this time we did it over, well, I'd kind of planned on 2 work days and a non-work day. And it turned into, of course, when you get a bunch of GSDers together, 3 work days. And, you play hard and you party hard, although we left early most nights because, not doing that again, staying up in Camden. And anyway.
I mean, it was what it was. I mean, it was good. It was great. I think people enjoyed it. It was, I'm glad it turned into one project per day, and then a lot of community building and fellowship and hanging out and bullshitting and meeting new people and reacquainting with others that you just see them every so often. So I thought that was really good. People got to learn skills. I think a lot of people learned some stuff every project we did, and that's kind of what we're all about.
Dude, you and I together had built the equivalent of 5 8x8 cabins before last weekend or last week. And I learned probably 50% all new shit just from Dave Ruiz. I want to say, I hope I got his name, or Ruiz. He was there. And oh my goodness, guys, I want to tell you, you're never too old to learn. And that man is a machine, number one. But he taught me a ton of stuff about construction that has definitely upped the quality factor of some of our buildings or going forward.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what you don't know.
Right. You never do. And like I said, anybody who's out there who is self-taught, that's just how we go. We learn as you go, and you learn a little more and a little more and a little more. And eventually you get better. And what do they say that when you first start out with something, you learn a little bit, and all of a sudden you're dangerous because you think you know everything. And then you get to the point where all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, I don't know anything. This is awful.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to skip the I think I know everything stuff in the gas business. I had a really good mentor who was always trying to figure something new out, and everything was changing the whole time. Like all the equipment, you're always doing new stuff. So I was always like, I don't know shit. It was almost 6 years into that. I was like, I don't know shit. I can fix a lot of stuff, but I don't know shit.
Man, it's good to stay humble, though. It is. I joke about learning. I'm always trying to learn. What else can you do? If you don't, you might as well not be fucking doing it, because that's where you end up.
Because then you get bored and complacent.
Yep. And you just think you know it, and you're not going to do any better. I mean, look at how much, just for instance, guys. So Haas wants to know what were the projects we worked on, and I'll back up here and we'll talk a little bit about that. Hey, look who it is. Ian, I was just going to mention him, but so before we met up, or when you and I met up and we had the meeting the week before I flew down to Tennessee, or Becky and I and Curtis, we were worried that we wouldn't have enough work for everybody. So we overplanned. We had the availability to scale, which was great. And it worked out that we didn't really need to scale, because people just kind of latched onto a project and we kind of saw it through completion. Hey?
Yeah. Yeah. And I liked that. I was nervous that I didn't know if people wanted to work harder or didn't want to work more. It was hot both days. It was, it's a lot of, especially when you're not used to it, walking that property is pretty grueling. It's up and down hills all day. It was, 85, 90 and sunny. So how much do you want to push volunteers?
Right.
Or can we achieve 3 major projects in 3 days and have a good time and relax and talk and learn about other things about your community members?
And we did. And because it was hot, I think the second day was the hottest, I believe, because that was the day where I had to go sit down in the shade for a bit, folks, because I was pushing myself pretty hard.
It was hot the first day, but you stood in water for 3/4 of it. So
that is true. So let's lay out what we did. So I get there. Let's see. Tuesday was the day I showed up. And
do you want to share your surprise that you got when you arrived?
Oh yes. Oh my God, I forgot all about that, guy. This was a week full of surprises. So we pull in, and Brian's like, yeah, I'll be off working somewhere when you get here. So we get in about noon or so. I pull in, and I can hear some dude just talking away. And as I get closer, it becomes readily apparent that it's radio. I think, okay, cool. And then I get closer, and then I'm like, I know that voice. That's Mr. Art Bell. And then I get even closer, and I realize that it's the Mel's Hole episode, and it's playing right next to our composting toilet, also known as Mel's Hole. And it was the greatest. I loved it. Thank you. That made me smile.
That's what friends are for right there. That's when you know you got a buddy, right?
So true. I talked to Becky about that like 3 times afterwards. I was like, that is friggin' awesome. That was so good.
I tried to entertain.
No, it was good, man. That was friggin' awesome. So you and I had an idea, and we kind of multiplied on the fly and decided to go from one cabin to two, just in case. We didn't know where we were going to end up, but it worked out great. So I had my son-in-law, Curtis, and if he's watching tonight, I got to brag him up. Even if he wasn't watching or isn't watching, that dude he just works. He never complains. He always has that smile. He takes a ribbon like
not around you.
Yeah, well, that's true. But
mostly about you.
He can take a ribbon though, can he? Oh my God, didn't we pick on him? He's a good kid. Almost as much as the little. He got
initiated into the club very fast.
Mm-hmm. And he really he had a hell of a time. You know, he's a slight on the shy side, but it's not a big deal because we bring everybody out of their shell.
We're all massively socially awkward, so it's pretty good.
But that makes us all a family, you know?
Right.
So we went. So I show up, and almost immediately I hop back into the truck, and we head to Savannah and load up the amount of material. Well, it took 2 trips to Savannah, so that's like, call it a half hour each way. So an hour round trip plus load up time. Kurt and I made 2 loads, brought it all back, and poor Becky was in the back seat. I forgot to unload after the first one because we left her in Savannah, so she was cramped the second time. But we hauled it all back. And first day, we put everybody on hill duty. So what did we have to do there, Brian?
We had to carry all the material up the hill. We were gonna build the cabin up behind Tim's main cabin that's there right now. There was 2 spots up and beyond that, so we decided with many hands we should carry the material up the hill. And then also, so that was Wednesday morning that we started doing that.
If everybody got there,
we had campers arrive on Tuesday night.
That's right. Yes.
In the dark with a sketchy road, because the road was rapidly drying up, but the road was kind of sketchy still. So Worm and Fred were our initial let's see how it goes.
And sorry, go ahead, man.
And it worked great. It worked out fine. They made the call that they wanted to make as I informed them of the current conditions, and the road really was a stressor for me up until then, because I don't like to put somebody into a position that they don't want to be in. I don't want to make the wrong decision for someone and have something break of theirs because of a call I made. And I drive an F-250, and it's a little different than, some of the vehicles people are driving. That's what we've been driving for over 2 years now, 3 years. It's hard for me to remember what a sedan is going down a dirt road.
I don't remember the last. Well, I do actually. I drove my son's sedan to take it to the garage a few months ago and took my life in my own hands. I was not impressed. So
right. But that's a tough call. So that road was it got way better by Wednesday, and Thursday, Friday it was no problem. So that was good. That made me happy. It was big relief.
It was. And Mario did some work a little further out and made that first dip almost like it was never a problem. So we may need to, anyway, I don't need to go into it too much, but it'd be nice to bring everybody together and that live there and do something, but we'll figure it out. If not, anyway, we'll make it work. So
do you see my comments in the backside of this?
Oh, I think so.
The one from my channel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. John Palmer. Hope you're still driving it. Oh
yeah. I see these guys busting my balls because my truck broke.
Yep, I did. And Brian, again, that's what community's for. You had friends you could call, and you had, backup plans, and you also had roadside assistance. You did all the things you could do as a prepper. You did better than Becky and I did with her luggage situation. So I'm proud of you.
Somehow I figured out how to get signal in that vacuum of cell service and got the shit done.
But it worked. I mean, it's at the garage, you're home, you're safe, you didn't have to work a whole lot, or walk a whole lot. Sorry, I meant to say. And yeah, here we are.
I I paced for the whole 2.5 hours till the tow truck got there.
I figured you would. I knew you. As soon as you told me, I was like, that poor thing would have been a bundle of. I want to say a bundle of nerves.
Anger.
Yeah, a bundle of joy. Yeah, you would have been the epitome of, like, I don't know, the Reload or Load album of Metallica, something like that. So
it was kind of more like Falling Down.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Nobody out there has ever seen. If you haven't seen Falling Down, do yourself a favor and watch that movie. It's a classic. It really is. A guy who's just had too much on a hot summer Los Angeles day. They won't give him breakfast. They just won't give him breakfast, and that's it. So Wednesday, we haul all the shit up the hill. We made good time on that, and I believe you guys worked on getting the nursery kind of cleared a little bit.
Was that Wednesday? Wednesday we did the water project.
Right, we almost all worked on that, and which really was me hopping in the thing, So guys, it's like, I don't know. It is a stream, but it's fed by a spring, and it was really a mud hole. And I just jumped in, shoes, boots and all, with socks off, and people just handed me tools, and I dug for about 90 minutes altogether, I figure. And we took a break halfway through.
Yeah, and that's just kind of how it went for most of the days. Was we get started on a project, and the water project was pretty. For the first day, we didn't have the most people there. Thursday was the most people there. We got to explain everything. We got to take our time. We got to put it together. We got to be done early as people were arriving and getting their stuff put away. And so you weren't getting there and getting set up for camp and then put to work. So yeah, we put in a basically a collection system for the spring. We developed the spring, I guess is what they would call it, where we installed a 5-gallon filter sump, and then fed that through PVC over to the 55-gallon drum, which Tim was burying, digging the hole for, and it deposits into there, and then there's an overflow in that, and so we're basically giving ourselves a sump to be able to pump the water out of, because we couldn't put the pump into the stream. It wasn't deep enough. It was muddy and silty. So we had to figure out some way to pump the water. So we basically developed a pool that now we have 40 gallons of water that we can pump as it's refreshing at about 3 gallons a minute.
You know what I love, folks?
Did that explain it thoroughly enough?
I think so. I think it was Haas that was asking about the project. So we'll start with that one. But when we first went there, we knew we had that little crevice of water. We didn't know if it was a stream, a spring, runoff from rain. We really didn't know. And we weren't real optimistic at first. To be honest, you look at it, it didn't do much. It didn't look like much. It didn't feel like much. But the longer we were there and the drier it got, and the more you looked and the more you were there, we were like, man, I think there's something. We figured it was a spring. We figured that out because it wasn't runoff, because there's really not that tall of a hill behind us anyhow. And so just from talking and planning and then you running ideas behind Sean, it went from we have no water to we have an abundant source, a fairly abundant source of renewable water.
We were
rain.
Drought. We hadn't had rain in 2 months.
Right.
Before the Helene rain. So that was, I think that's how you say it now. I guess I've been saying it wrong. I don't pronounce names very well. I thought it was Helen. And I had a lunch lady when I was younger that named Helen, and she was kind of gnarly and nasty. So I kind of made that connection, I guess. But it didn't rain for 2 months, and it was flowing the same way it did the day that you got there after it rained 4 inches in 3-4 days. And then it stopped Sunday midday. You came in Tuesday. It was flowing the same, maybe a little bit more, not anything to that you could notice by my eye. So that's pretty consistent flow. Doesn't really matter. Runoff, it funnels in there, but it funnels all over the property. There's so many different little ridges and valleys. It's not any one it's not like the main flood area that everything goes to. It's just one of many little crevices.
And we're pretty sure, and I guess to kind of elaborate on that, we're pretty sure that we have multiple springs or multiple points of access to that spring where it's flowing on the property, because the area that runs down into what is now the nursery has got to be a separate spring just based on the lay of the land. They may both be coming from the same spring, but they're definitely exiting the hills in different areas.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different fissures on there, and I haven't even put feet on, I would say, a quarter of the property. I would guess that there's a quarter of the property that I haven't ever walked to, because when you get time to do it, it's so overgrown with blackberries and things that there's just more productive things to do than go exploring and get your arms all tore up. So there's plenty of those little, I mean, there's one out behind where we're doing our building stuff that I'm sure there's water in there somewhere.
Where your guys' property is? Dude, that's awesome. That makes me so happy. It's crazy. I mean, you imagine, okay, this is a project. This is not a life or death project for us by any means. But I think about like the pioneers who came across, say, here and, on the prairies, or whomever ended up being some of the earlier settlers in the Tennessee area. You imagine like that kind of shit would be life and death for them.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. It was, and being able to talk with Sean and beat ideas back and forth and do things like that, and take that little trickle of 3 gallons a minute, but it's spread out on a little creek bed, and so it's only this deep, and every place down that's been running for whoever knows how long, so it's all silty. There's probably fucking gold in there and all sorts of shit, who knows. So to be able to develop that into a 40-gallon bucket, Haas asked if it's big enough for a pond. I hand dug a pond up by my shed. It's about 10 foot across and 3.5 feet deep at the moment. Because I needed material, I dug it with a shovel. So yeah, I would say it's big enough for a pond somewhere if we could find a flat spot to do it.
Where the nursery is at the low area there would have been. Yeah,
there's a spot in the back side of the nursery. It'll be interesting to see how it lays out, but that would be a really cool end goal, to have that spring that runs down through the nursery then dump into a pond at the base in the corner there.
And if anybody ever asks, it's always been that way.
Oh, it is. It's wet.
Yeah, I just one day a beaver dammed it up and we're all set. So he even put in a beautiful 55-gallon drum. Yeah. So we got that done. So if anybody wants to see any of these projects, I took about like a 1 to 2 minute video of each one, and they've been uploaded over on Instagram. So if you follow me over there on Instagram, you can see those shorts, and they would have
mine are on TikTok and YouTube.
Are they? Okay. Mine never made it to YouTube yet, but so you can find them anywhere, all the places. So they're really cool, because the whole water project is hard to explain. It's like trying to explain baseball to somebody who's never seen it before. But once you see it, you're like, oh yeah, now I get it. You want
me to draw a picture? I got my whiteboard here.
Oh, hey, dude, if you want to do like, yeah, did Tim just call you a beaver? I mean, leave it to beaver. There you go. So we moved on from day 1, and then we went into day 2. And day 2 was probably our most productive day. I think everybody worked the hardest on day 2. And it's probably because we had the most people there. So we were all like, the peer pressure was heavy that day. No, not really, but it was just everybody wanted to get shit done. Well, Kyle showed up, so we all wanted to look good for Kyle. Really, that's what happened.
Yeah, and he started taking his clothes off, and it got us all worked up. And
it's true. I mean, it was kind of like a train wreck. You just can't take your eyes off it, and so that's where we went from there.
We were trying to get him all sweaty so that he'd show us the horse tail, but it never got busted out.
So I don't know who worked with you, because I got pretty in the zone up there, but Dave was the foreman. And if I can remember, and I could be wrong on this, but there was me and Curtis and One Step Closer, otherwise known as Jeremy, and Ian, and then Fred and Freddie helped a bit too. So, and Chicken Hawk come in a bit. And so we knocked out in about 5 hours, the best and most solid 8x8 cabin on the property yet. So this is Charlotte's cabin, which is also really, 364 days of the year is going to be rented out or available for events and that sort of thing. But that came together pretty well. And what did you guys work on that day, Brian?
So I had a little bit of trouble in the prep time coming up to the work days. I had two things I ran into. Oh, that was another one of my disasters that we were trying to come up with. You said it was only going to be 3. I dropped that tree on my saw.
Yeah, you did.
So then I had to wait to get my saw fixed, but I had to drop some trees in the nursery. So it was available for planting because we didn't want to put new fruit trees in there and then drop these 30-foot tall sugar or sweet gums and ruin things. So Carrie Brown and I had decided what area we wanted to clear up, and it was just something that didn't get completely done. I was able to get the trees all on the ground, and basically I had a crew, and we spent the morning kind of clearing up the undergrowth and getting rid of those trees, getting them chunked up and moved so that we could install the nursery on Friday.
And that's such a damn thankless job too, because you cut a tree down, you junk it up, you haul it all away, you sweat your balls off, and at the end, it really doesn't look much different than when you started. You're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Well, I spent that whole Tuesday. I spent that whole Wednesday or Monday afternoon and Tuesday trying to get that tree out of the other tree, that 30-foot sweet gum that hung up in the other tree, and that was not fun.
This seems to be the story of your life in Tennessee: is this tree, that tree, this tree, that tree, a tree across the road, and you seem to be the only one who can manhandle them.
I just. Yeah, I figure it out.
You do,
lots of physics. It's just lots
Funny
of
how
physics.
that is. When you don't have any other options, you figure shit out, don't you?
Right. I was just using a little ratchet strap and some rope and playing tug of war with it. Finally got it to fall over.
So, folks out there, anybody, when you work with somebody you've never worked with before, who has a certain set of skills, like Liam Neeson or something, and you see it, you're like, it's so damn simple. Why didn't I think of that before? Like Dave making the side walls, they're 7 feet in the front and 8 feet in the back. And he just made them a straight 7 feet. And then he built another flat roof on top. There was no angle cuts at all. I was like, why didn't I ever think of that before? It just made life so easy. And now it just makes sense, But we got that knocked down. And then again, and I should say that the entire time we were there, Becky made really good work of was it Blackstone? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the grill. So she cooked up a shit ton of food for us. And of course, she doesn't like the heat at the best of the time, and she wasn't very acclimatized, but she did good. Really good, actually. And then we went on to day 3, and it was really the nursery day, which was cool because it was hot that day too. Man, it was hot as balls. So what was involved in the nursery plant?
Carrie Brown kind of led it, and it was all hands on deck basically because we had decided on Thursday that we were stupid and thinking that have barbecue in the evening before SRF after 3 days of working out in the heat. And we called an audible and said we were calling it quits about 3:00. So everybody that was there was welcome to stay longer. Everybody that was there agreed that, wrapping up and getting out of there and getting up and moving camp up to SRF where they were going to be for the rest of the weekend made sense in the light and taking their time. So we kind of put everybody we had that was available to stay into planting trees. I think we planted a dozen or so fruit trees, apple, peach, pear, plum, cherry, and then apricot or nectarine or some shit. I don't know. The list was long. I haven't memorized it yet. It's only been a week. But then shrubs, medicinal herbs. Tim Riley stopped by with some figs. And then we got all of that in. We got cardboard down around all of them. We got wheat straw and pine straw down on top for mulching, and we got them watered in with our new water source. We went up and we got buckets of water, brought them down and watered in the trees. So everybody pitched in, everybody busted their ass, and we got it done early. People were able to take their time, break down camp, and just take their time getting out. And man, Carrie and Corey and I sat down after everybody left, and I think it was like 3:15.
Right. It was
a complete install. Carrie and Corey and I sat down for a little bit, and then we kind of got stuff organized to put away for the weekend. And then we took off. Carrie stayed back and spent the last night there and closed up camp on Saturday morning and headed to SRF.
And we had, I believe you said 12 campsites, or 12
campers.
Set up. Yeah,
12 camps or 12 campers in various sites. It was it was nice. It was nice.
It was cool. I don't know. I get so excited. It's so foolish, but from when we talked about it to what it is now has come so far. And when people see what we've done in 18 months, and they're like, you know, a lot of people think there's no way we got this done. And truth be told, for the most part, it's been done in, compact, tight time constraints. You know what I mean? Other than now that you're down there on a regular basis, but all the big projects just happen, boom, 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 and we move on.
Yep. And we'll do another big install in the food forest in the spring. We have Becky a couple SRFs ago won a tree package from Nick Ferguson, so that's going to be coming in, and so we'll be planting and propagating fodder trees down in there, and also installing a bunch of other shrubs and bushes and stuff that Carrie's got planned. Carrie's got it all planned. I'm just the minion down there, minding to the plants.
You know what's cool? When we all get together, everybody just defers to whoever happens to be the expert. You know, like Sean could be. You do, but that's not normal in life sometimes. You know, when you're dealing with the average Joes, you know, you'll have your alpha male who decides I'm going to be in charge. You know, they're the ones that'll be like, let's go this way, and they take you right off a cliff, right?
I don't ever want to be the smartest guy in the room.
No, because then you're not getting anywhere. What
the hell's the point, right? If I can't learn from somebody there, I'm more than happy to teach anybody, but I want to be learning too. That's the only way you're going to get better.
100%. I wanted to, let's read this here. Haas says, that's the nice thing about community. You get a lot of stuff done, just like the Amish raising the barn. The Amish raising the barn it's really all about community. It's true. You know, there's not many C words that are more powerful than that. Maybe we could think of a couple, but we won't. Yeah, you know. But I wanted to shout out a few folks.
If we were on my show.
Yes, yeah, that's true. So I met 3 delinquents this time, at least. Probably more guys, but the 3 that I met that I know of that I've never met in meat space, it's a new term that not a new term, but one that I picked up from a new delinquent that has been around a while. But it's me, RZ. That was great getting to talk to him. He showed up on Friday. And if you guys don't know him, he has his own podcast. He's been on Workshop Radio in the past. So we got to meet up. He made it to Delinquents Gully. Rachel from PA, which, I mean, it feels like we've known Rachel for years. She's like part of the furniture around here. In a good way, Rach, in a good way. And so got hugs from her, got pictures with her. And did you meet Hunter? You got to talk to Hunter, did you? Yep. So Hunter comes to me and he's like, hey, Tim, how are you? And he was being a bit of a smart ass because he knew I didn't know who he was. And the reason is, and he said it on purpose, is he doesn't have any pictures with his profile. So there was no like, you know, I'm not going to see it and be like, oh,
you gotta go digging, because I recognized him right away because I scrolled back and creepered him on Instagram at one point and saw old pictures of him that he probably doesn't remember are there.
That's all. Yeah. Well, see, you did your due diligence. I did not. So, but it was great. We got to meet and got pictures, and yeah, that was fun. And then we had, go ahead.
He sent his wife up to our booth, and she started telling me how I'm the first voice she hears in the morning, and it got me all excited. And then find out she's married.
That's the same thing Kyle whispers in your ear, isn't it? So,
oh yeah.
But we also had a few folks at the Gully for the first time, and Backwoods was there. Backdoor Butcher, he was there, and Ian from Florida, Dave Ruiz and his kids. Now Dylan was there last time, and that's Red Tail Forestry. But his son, otherwise known as Little Drummer Boy, he was there as well. Something else that happens quite often, guys, is that we like to rib each other a bit, and nicknames seem to kind of stick. They're there, and then you're stuck with it.
Curtis.
Mm-hmm. Holy shit, I didn't even have Curtis in my list. And then Chicken Hawk and Fred and Freddie. Yep.
Fred and Freddie, yep.
I don't think Fred, we had some of Fred's tools last time, but I'm pretty sure Andy brought them down for us.
Yep. So you mentioned
good.
Dave, right? And his kids?
Yep, Dave and his kids. I mean, Dave did 4 days worth of work on the day that he worked there, so I don't know how he did it.
Taught a all-inclusive carpentry class while he was
sure there. Did. And I still haven't looked up the guy he was talking about, the old-time carpenter dude. He's awesome. I got to find it, but yeah, I don't have it. But sorry, I think we got a delay. I apologize. Go ahead, Brian.
No, man, your show.
We also got an incredible gift from a Mr. Chris Dixon, because it's become kind of tradition, which makes me smile too, that when people come, they almost always bring something with them to leave a part of themselves there. And of course, Chris is from the People's Republic of Kazakhstan, like I am, and it's much more difficult to go south. So he sent us down some hand-forged hardware, some coat hooks and bathroom hooks, and they are going to be, once again, an integral part of Delinquents Gully. So thank you, brother. I know I sent you a message, but thank you very much.
Yeah, and it was, so he sent a set down for your cabin, and then the cabin we're building out there to stay in while we take care of the place. And I thought it was appropriate because he made a paper towel holder so Corey can remember him, and coat hooks so all the guests can remember him, and toilet paper holder so I can remember him.
Ain't that, that's, I knew that was coming. Shithead, right? So here's something fun. Since people seem to also love, leaving things behind, Pippin says he may or may not have positioned a rubber duck in the gully somewhere. Well, now see that one day Brian's going to be down there after the leaves fall, and he's going to be standing there working, and he'll feel like something's staring. He'll look over, and there'll be a freaking creepy little duck looking at him. Guaranteed.
I'll throw a cart into the woods or something because the wheel broke, and I'll go to fetch it out of the woods because Corey's mad at me, and I'll find a rubber duck, and it'll make me smile.
So true. I may have shown up in March to somebody took a leftover shim and wrote a note on it, Uncle Ted's cabin. So there's that too,
Right.
Oh, what else? We got Chris Dixon. Yeah. And okay, I think that covers the work day. What about let's sum the work day up a little bit before we pop on to SRF. But was it a success?
I think so.
Me too. That was a loaded question.
As someone that has watched the whole experience, it was better and larger and more information. Like, it checked all the boxes of better than the last one. And I think if we're improving and learning from everything we do, then it's a success. I hope the people that attended thought it was good. I asked in the group, let us know what you liked, and definitely let us know what you didn't like, what could have been better, because that's the only way it'll happen. I can't read minds. I hope to be able to tell if people are having a good time. It felt like everybody was enjoying themselves. So, feedback is always welcome, but I think we did all right for our second event, really.
Was there a highlight of the 3 days for you? Anything in particular that stuck out?
Oh, man.
I can give you a minute.
I think it was Tuesday night. So I had been there. So it hadn't even started yet, really. It was Tuesday night. I waited up. I was there all day Monday, like 12 hours. I was there at 8 a.m. on Tuesday and went home for a couple hours, take a shower, and came back. And the campers got there like 9:00, 9:30 ish. Kind of got them settled in and everything. So I went up to the cabin and I was spending the night out there because we were having people show up in the morning, get things going because you were up in Camden and just somebody should be there. We were able to delve that out to other people the other 2 nights, which was really cool. And but I went out on the porch and I hadn't eaten anything all day, like just forgot and, you know, just working and this and that. And so Becky had brought back a whole bunch of groceries and I was sitting there having some Pringles and some Swiss cake rolls, you know, really keto friendly diet, carnivore even. I Ken Berry approved for sure. That was my meal for the day, and drinking some water at least. And I could see the guys getting set up through the woods because they had flashlights and shit. And it was like, this shit's happening. Like the stuff that we sat on the hill when you couldn't even walk through it, overgrown the day we walked in. These are the type of things we were talking about. Like we're talking bigger and further down the road, but this is the start of that. That was our first kind of, it wasn't the first people that camped there. It wasn't but this was the first time that we were like prepared an event. Last year was like, hey guys, let's get together and maybe build a cabin in the woods. This was laid out as let's kind of organize this a little bit. Let's figure it out, make it better. And we had campers and they showed up the night before. Everything got in. Everybody was okay. They were getting set up. They seemed happy with their spots and their choices. And it was that kind of moment. Like you're there. You're at the beginning of this.
It's the time that you got to remind yourself that to let yourself live in the moment for a moment, because it was cool. I'm glad. It's neat. I love planning and talking and doing, but then when the shit really happens, it's like, God damn it, that's good.
Like when you sold your business.
Right.
The day you built your business and sold it and you realize this is the beginning of what I'm doing. Right. That wasn't the end. I took that first step. Because you're on a monster truck path. And that was like running over that first little Volkswagen Beetle, and now you're on to bigger and better things. Always, brother. So if I had to pick my highlight, well, I think you might know what one of them would be, but so if you want to know, if you've ever heard, like when Nicole talks about her spring workshop, they have a thing called the barter blanket. And everybody wants to know what the barter blanket is. And it's just like Fight Club. We don't talk about the barter blanket outside of the event. So if you want to experience it, you got to be there. So I believe it was Wednesday night when Sean, or was it yeah, it must have been because Thursday night. So Thursday night, Sean's like, hey guys, I got an announcement to make. I'm like, huh. So Sean's like, yeah, we all kind of pitched in and got you a gift, Tim. And if you'd want to know what the gift was, you'd have to be there. But it was touching to the point where, I mean, I'm a big softie anyway. Whenever anybody surprises me with something, I get tears in my eyes. The only time I cry is like sad movies, and then, you know, like a lifelong. Anyway, I don't want to say something like that, but yeah, it takes a lot. But it meant the fucking world to me, man. That was cool. And so, but that's a bit of a cheap one because I can't actually tell you what it was. But I mean. I loved having Becky there. I loved having everybody there as a delinquent family. But you know, I think the most fun I had probably, or that one of the highlights was having Curtis down there, my son-in-law, because it's pretty cool. I going back to Father's Day this year was the first year where everything has changed in our family. And I remember sitting on the deck, and I was like, kind of, you know, I'm the patriarch of the family, or whatever. And I look around, and you know, Mackenzie has a significant other now. Olivia has a significant other, and we're like this big expanded family. And so Kurt is a good buddy of mine, and we spent the whole time together. You know, you're going to know a lot about somebody when you spend 8 days on the road, pretty much. You know, some nights we even slept in the same hotel room, you know, so you get comfortable with each other. And I bet he'd be nice to cuddle up with. He probably would be. I'll have to ask Backwoods and see what he thought. But yeah. But yeah, no, it was good. He's a great kid. He works hard. And the best part was
I got to introduce him to his first taste of freedom. He'd never been outside of Canada before. And goddamn if that's not friggin' addictive, because now all he's talking about is the next time he can get back down there. So yeah, anyway, that was probably my highlight.
I can host him anytime he wants to come down. He doesn't need you.
I know. And he would too. But yeah, so we got a dog from Joel that we're getting at some point. And so we may make a road trip for that. But, you know, it's all coming. We're excited.
Dogs can fly too.
They can, but you can also take a road trip if you want.
especially one of those ones, I'm guessing.
Oh, man, they can. Yeah, I think they could fly on the outside of the plane and they'd be fine. So, SRF. Highlights. It was a hell of an event. I had a good time. There was some hiccups like always, but they got smoothed out in day 2. Nothing that couldn't be fixed. Just like there's hiccups when we, discover that I didn't bring a fitting that I bought and didn't get out of the fucking, basket.
I don't think anybody that didn't know what was going on
didn't know
right. What was going on.
100%. You're not wrong.
It's always a sign of good participants. That you just kind of make it happen.
We just make shit happen, and you make it. Yeah, you never know what happens on the backside, but it works. You do. You have to. I might. Yeah. Anyway, so I did an interview with Bear, which was awesome. We've got about 10 minutes with him, and then I told CJ Kilmer. If anybody doesn't know CJ Kilmer, he does the Dangerous History podcast. He's been on my bucket list of getting to talk to. And so I'm up in the green room after in the afternoon trying to cool off a little bit. And I look over and I'm like, some dude in like a Hawaiian shirt. And I'm like, I think that's CJ. So I'm like, I start talking to him. I'm like, if I get annoying, I said, just tell me to shut up. Because, the whole idea behind the green room is a place where you can just kind of chill, right? And be away. And we get talking for about 5 minutes and it turns into 30. And so I grab him later on for an interview and I'm like, can we do 10 minutes? He's like, oh yeah, sure. And it goes to 25. So that was good. And then I did a recording with John Willis, which was awesome. It was mostly an update on my business happenings and then current affairs stuff, which is always fun talking with John about the shit happening in the world, right? Here's something. Yeah, I'm going to throw this out to anybody listening, but Ian, so as part of the update tonight, I was going to say we have 2 members here, Ian and Pippin, who are both in the Florida area. They both checked in and are doing good, but he wanted to know anybody heard from CJ. I don't think he's in any of the groups I'm in. So I haven't. So if anybody has, that would be great because the power of community. And so what day was it? I think I was in Tennessee and I get a text from Bob Lester. No, maybe I was still in Canada. I don't know. Anyway, and he wanted to know he hadn't heard from Joel Riles and he was quite concerned because Prepper Camp got hit by Hurricane Helen, right? Or Helene. No. And so within a half an hour, I was able to get not just confirmation that Joel was doing good, but of course, Ryan, oh my God. It's Ryan. Anyway, Prepper Dad from the Next Gen podcast, Ryan Buford, he sends me a picture and he goes, here you go, proof of life. And that felt pretty damn good that our community has enough reach that we can get down to a little field, North Carolina, in the middle of a hurricane reclamation. So yeah, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it works.
Yeah. So yeah, we did that. What were some of your highlights at SRF, Brian?
We had a really good tent set up there. So you had a tent. We had 2 tent spaces, vendor spaces from accumulated efforts, and we kind of set it all up together. So it was a great group of people that got to hang out. We were able to let community kind of jump in, and that's why we were there. Like I didn't even bring anything to vend. I just like a spot to go and be in a central location and let community come and hang out and meet each other and reconnect with the people that you see that once or twice a year and just have a central location to be. And I got more than one thanks for letting us hang out. And man, no, thank you for coming and hanging out. I don't.
Oh yeah.
I just provide the space. If the people don't come, it doesn't do anything. So thank you for everybody that came and hung out and bullshitted and joked and had a fantastic time. And yeah, that's what we do. We get together and just have a time of it.
And
it's really hard to explain. Like it's like
is.
Old friends hanging out, and we see each other a couple times a year. We talk on the internet all the time, but like you said, Meet Space is different, man. Like it's real time. There's no internet delay. There's reach out and touch someone type of stuff.
You know, you hear about those stories about people who portray a certain character on YouTube or as an influencer, and then you meet them in real life, and you're like, man, they're a dickhead. Well, I'm
a dickhead in real life and on the internet.
Beat me to it. Exactly. But here's the thing. You can hide it online. You can edit it out and post, but there ain't no post edit in friggin' real life, man. Here we get together and you're going to see us warts and all. And, you know, you're going to get to watch us do things and maybe cuss a little bit under our breaths once in a while or out loud quite often. Doesn't matter. And yeah, it's awesome. That's the best part because we're like old friends who've never met before.
I feel, yeah, like it's easy there. Like I don't stress out because it's just another day right. Going, like another day at Delinquents Gully, another day at SRF. And it's good. It's good. The community is what makes it. Like I saw a fraction of one presentation today or over the whole weekend. I pulled my phone out on Sunday night when we got home, and I had one picture of Kyle's ass and one video that was like 15 seconds long that then somebody asked me to do something so that I could hear it in the video. Somebody was like, hey, can you, and I shut the video off. So yeah, my phone was out of my pocket for a matter of 15 seconds the whole weekend.
It happens. I forced myself once I became, kind of intentional about recording interviews to do some content at every event because that's just what I need to do. But yeah, it's not easy. You have to be absolutely intentional because it's so easy to not, Ian says documenting the important stuff. And yeah, you like for me, I make a goal at every event to do 3 interviews. And
I think he was talking about Kyle's ass.
Oh, yeah. See, here I am being all serious, and we're talking about the New Hampshire's posterior. So there you go.
I mean, the dude was in a bikini on TikTok. He's bound to be famous at some point, and I have a picture of his posterior on my phone when he was only just butchering rams at SRF.
Hey, he's a good-looking dude. There's no getting around it. I'm sure
he is a handsome man.
He is a handsome piece of meat, that is for sure. So yeah, no, he's a good dude. I really appreciate him, and and here's the thing: for anybody who's never gone to one of these events before, the first one you'll leave and you'll be like, "Oh shit, I should have saw this person. I should have did this. I should." Get rid of the should-haves real quick. If you can come to the first event and embrace that, and you might go and you might be like, "Holy shit, I want to go to every presentation." Great, but guess what? I don't go to any presentations. I don't go to Joel Salatin's presentation, maybe for 5-10 minutes because he mentioned me once or something. But I don't. I just don't, because
that's weird because he went to your presentation and took notes.
He sure did. And that's his shtick, right? He's good at that. But for me, my thing is connections and talking and walking and talking and recording interviews. And yeah, that's just who I am. And each person, you got to find it. So basically what I say is when I leave now, there's not even a hint of regret anymore. Whereas the first event, I left with all kinds of regrets and realized, no, I'm leaving that behind. And by the third one, I was like, nope, I'm perfect. Whatever the event is what it is, and I'm cool with it.
So I'm interested to see where it goes from here, because they made the announcement at the end that it's no longer going to be at SOE in Camden, and really depending on where it lands will be how connected we can be with our stuff at Delinquents Gully, or if we just kind of go and do our thing and we still have SRF crew. I mean, it really depends on where it's at and where it lands. So it'll be interesting to see how it progresses. But I think we were able to benefit with our community helping us and putting us light years ahead in the 2 work days we had in conjunction with SRF. And it puts us in a position to stand alone if we need to.
And that's exactly it. If we were trying to do this, as a very first time all by itself, I don't know. But like, was it John Palmer that said, if you build it, they will come. And now that we've built it and people are a part of it and want to come back, I've got a group photo from each of the 2 events that I am going to get framed and put up somewhere there. But now people are connected and we're tied to the place. And I'm sure we'd have folks, if we decide to do a yearly get together, some folks would come and we would, it would be awesome. I can't wait for it. But for those who didn't quite catch what Brian was saying, that the event is still happening, but they're cutting SRF back to once a year. It's
I forgot that too.
Yes, fall only. And it's no longer going to be on John's property. It's kind of outgrown it. So it's time to find its own place, because it's real difficult for everybody involved to get in there, move around everything and not, step on things you shouldn't step on. Right.
Haas says he wants more hands-on demos. That's what we're going to focus on with the Gully workshops or whatever we end up doing there. We want to focus on education. And I think when you asked if it was successful, I kind of told you when you showed up, what I had hopes for this was that hopefully everyone that showed up saw somebody that they knew prior to showing up so they could reconnect with them. They met somebody new there that they had never met before, and that they learned something. And I would have to say everybody there in one way, because I know I met people for the first time. So I'm one, they met somebody new. And hopefully, that was my goal, and to get some work done. And I have a pile of stuff to do, which is fantastic. It's all planned out and laid out. So it's just a
do you know what you have now also? You've got 90% of the material up the hill for the 3rd cabin build.
Right.
I'm excited about that. Because of Dave's increased, capacity. Anyway, he picked a few extra pieces of wood that we wouldn't have used because he knew to build it better. And so there's probably 90% of what you need there, Brian, but it was awesome.
Yep. Yeah. And the logs, the mushroom logs would have been nice to get to, but man, that's all stuff I can do. That was all stuff. That was kind of what we looked at was, here are the major projects. I can put the water system in by myself, and I will build a cabin by myself. Not in a day, not
a week,
not
probably.
in a day.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Could I have put that whole nursery in? I'm sure I could have.
Yeah.
Did I? No. Do I want to? No. But there's a lot of filling in the spots now. The bulk of it is done. Now all of it is smaller projects that we can kind of pare down. And we were talking before, as the infrastructure gets built and as the major projects get done, we're able to bring people together and do, hey, these are the skills we use to do these, and do smaller educational style workshops instead of making everybody home material up the hill.
Exactly. Yes.
But then we start charging for it.
Right.
This was all your time and your labor, and we fed you and gave you a spot to sleep. And
hopefully a good taste of community too, which is, awesome. I loved it. But another highlight of SRF for me was doing the 3-way roundtable with myself, you, and Carrie. That was a lot of fun, because Nicole asked me months ago, she said, what do you want to talk about? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I said, first thing I come up with is like poverty mindset 2.0. And she goes, great. You're going to talk about developing and acquiring off-grid homesteads. And I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. And I'm like, that's really what I should have said to begin with, but whatever. And so as I was getting closer and closer to the event, I just couldn't, I had notes. I had lots of notes. I just couldn't bring it together. And I'm like, the big thing is community. I don't like, it sounds so cliche and pat and pick your word of the day, but it really did. And really, when you look at us picking up that land, you know, both entrepreneurship helped, but the connections we made through community were the big one. And so I'm like, hey, Brian, Carrie, would you guys like to come on? And we'll do an open kind of mic where we discuss all the different aspects of it. And dude, it worked it was awesome.
Saved your bacon.
You want to believe you did. It made, because I could I have got up there and done it? Yeah, I could have. Would it have been great? Yeah. Nobody would have known other than me. Yeah, it would have been great, but I wouldn't have been happy with it. But the highlight, I got to tell you this story, guys. Probably the highlight of my speaking career up until this point, and it's going to be pretty damn hard to top.
Was speaking next to me?
Oh, it was. Yes. So I'm on stage with with Brian and Carrie. Brian's talking, and all of a sudden, my damn pocket starts ringing, and I'm thinking, "Oh my God!" Because I intentionally, and there's more to this story that I figured out afterwards. Before I went on stage, I intentionally made sure my ringer was turned off. And I thought, damn it, I must have turned it back on. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, hang on a minute, guys, I got to get this. We're on stage in front of at least 200 people. I counted the chairs, maybe 250. It was the biggest crowd I've ever spoke to at SRF. It was packed and nobody moved. And we were like halfway into a very hot set. And my phone rings and it's Charlotte FaceTiming me. And I'm like, this couldn't be any more perfect. And she's one of my 14-year-old girls, guys. And I turn it on and it's her on the court with all her teammates in volleyball telling me they just won the game to go to the gold medal. They didn't end up winning it eventually, but the fact that she was there, I put her on, I flipped the video around and I let her see all the people while she's on the court and everybody starts cheering for her. I'm like, hey, you know, whatever. And I said, you know, wish her good luck. And everybody, she's so embarrassed. But at the same time, she's so proud of her papa. She gets to see me on stage. And the best part was all her friends were there to see it. And I was just, dude, it couldn't have happened any better way. So that was,
Dad was down in that gun-toting America.
He's on stage. And she said afterwards, like, what was your dad doing in front of all those people? Because the weekend before, I'm at a volleyball a tournament, just sitting there, you know, doing my thing. And I was like, there you go, Chuck. Anyway, so there you go. L2 Survive says, I start getting bored at prepper expos. Now I have my own booth just to talk to people about what they're into. Nothing to sell, just I'm a prepper, want to be friends and talk about stuff. Yeah, dude, that's friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
I want to show everybody something else while we're at it. I don't know if you can see that. I'm hanging out so that says Becky. It's a tattoo. If it's backwards.
They spelled it wrong.
Yeah, they did. So they didn't spell it Rebecca. They spelled it Becky. So I'm in recording with John Willis in his podcast studio. And I hear this little buzzing and I look over and there's a dude in there. He's like John's personal tattooist. Or I can't remember the guy's name. And I'm like, I don't even know if John has tattoos. But the guy just comes down and hangs out at John's. And he's giving everybody tattoos. And I'm like, I'd like one, please. He's like, sure. So I give him what I want. And he sketches it all out. And maybe 10 minutes later, we were done. And I was like, dude, so that was a cool highlight too. And then, yeah, so I got to come home with something permanent from Charged by the Letter. Pippin said, yeah, it was what a great dude. I wish I had his name to plug him, but he didn't want to take any payment for it. But I bartered a little bit of silver with him because he was worth every penny. So he did great work. And the food was really good this time. Becky kicked ass with SRF Kids. First time that ever happened. And oh man, it was great. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Tim. At 3H Survival and at Tattooing 101 on YouTube. There you go. That's the guy. So check him out, folks, because his work was so good. And they said the tattooist's name was Brendan or Brandon. His truck's at Arrowhead Tattoos. See, people that don't even talk to him pay more attention to me. I'm literally get a tattoo from the guy and I leave 2 minutes later. I'm like, well, that was a nice guy.
What a dick. I could probably tell you the names of everybody that's tattooed me.
Dude, I can't tell you the names of half the people I had conversations with today. That's just how I am. But you know what I can do? When I see you again, I'll remember what you were doing and what you were talking about and what your projects and your passions were. I'll remember that shit. I just won't remember your name, and that, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. I used to be able to remember drinks.
I bet you could, and until you had too many, and then it was hard to remember your drink. But
oh shit, no, drunken recall, man. I was sloshed
Serious?
on a bar for a decade.
That's awesome. I had a bunch of other stuff I was going to update, personal stuff, but that'd be for another show. I
could go for some personal stuff. How's Charlie doing?
Good. Yeah, she's well, I'm going to brag as a proud dad because she tried out for club volleyball, didn't make the local team, so she went back to the team she did last year. She didn't just make the team, but they bumped her up 2 levels. She's going to be playing U.S.A. She's going to be playing with girls 2 years older than her. So, yeah. So I'm proud of her. She's doing really good.
I missed my 4 days with her.
I know you did. And she hasn't seen the gift you sent her yet. So I'm gonna that's tonight. She was at school today when I was unpacking, but
yeah, that's definitely for her. And then she has strict instructions what to do when she's done with him. I expect a full book report.
Well, knowing her, she'll give you one and it'll have some expletives in it, guaranteed. So
I hope so. Those are the best ones. The ones you can't write in school.
As far as personal and prepping things go, I guess one thing was while we were at SRF, Becky got a bit of heat sickness. And just one of those things I wanted to mention was, it was great to have Chuck around and a few other people, but Chuck just took good care of her. She didn't go like full on, but she was not feeling good. And he filled her full of electrolytes and fluids, and she went inside and cooled down. But the crazy thing was she was inside a tent with the walls off. If there was ever a place that should be cool, it would be there, but it wasn't. So just be cognizant of that, folks, because that shit can happen. Another thought so this was random thoughts of things from the trip and everything. But so here's the thing. Flying is awesome and flying sucks. It's awesome because, I can turn 30 hours of driving into 3 hours of flying, but pretty much everything else about the experience is horrible, including your wife not losing all of your wife's luggage getting misplaced on her way back to Canada the day before me. So did I tell you about that, Brian? Yeah. So for anybody that wants to know, do not pack your prescriptions in your checked luggage. We know that. Everybody knows it, but we were just in a hurry and exhausted and made stupid mistakes. So her luggage then follows her she flies from Nashville to Calgary to Edmonton to Montreal to Spain. And it was supposed to connect from Calgary to Edmonton, and then she was supposed to repack in Edmonton. Never made it. They said, we'll fly it up to you. They didn't. They said, we'll fly it to you in Montreal. She's there. She's waiting. She has an 8-hour layover. She's waiting. 6 hours in, she calls them. They're like, oh, no, we didn't fly it to you. She's like, oh, thanks. So then she goes through the international gate and gets a call a half hour later. Surprise, your luggage is here, but you've already gone through the international gate. You can't come back for it, and we're not allowed to bring it to you. So all of her luggage is sitting at the gate in Montreal waiting for her to come back. So we did some because she normally keeps extra pills in her purse and things like that. She had just enough of her 2 prescriptions to be taken care of, but that sucked and could have been a lot worse. I was looking at okay, how do I contact pharmacies in Spain? All right. Next thought. Do I call the Canadian embassy? Do they help me? What do I do? Because it was an absolute shit show and I didn't know where to go with it. And luckily we were able to make a solution, but yeah, so that was not good.
So you crushed up the pills and made a solution?
Oh, that was really good. Yes, a suspended solution. I had to wait on it for a while. What else did I? Yeah, her luggage, her care. So now we've developed a new standard operating procedure for flying, something that we should have done before, but I just ordered some new stuff because as preppers, we always order stuff. But because we're going to travel to Nashville more often, we wanted to do more carry-on so we can get off the plane quicker and be done with it. So, anyway, prescriptions, wallet, keys, passport, they're all going in the checked luggage from now on. The carry-on luggage from now on. And we're also going to do a mini grab-and-go bag of toiletries that will pass through TSA. So all of that shit's taken care of. So I spent some time making a list today so it doesn't have to happen again. So anyway. That was kind of a good idea.
You know what another good idea is?
What's that, smart ass?
Don't fucking fly.
I know. Time, I mean, I don't want to sound like whatever, but time is our most precious resource right now. That I was blown away by how much I could get done and only be gone for 9 days this time, because I fucking love road trips. You know I do. I love being on the road, but it's just right now in this busy time, as everybody knows, it's just not working for us, right? So if I want to come down and hang out with you and, work my ass off in the humid, forest of Tennessee, then I'm kind of stuck with that for the next couple of years, probably. So, it's like when I asked my buddy Porterhouse why he doesn't move out of California. He's like, because my grandkids are here. That's why I'm not moving. It's easy to say, get out, but that doesn't always work. Right. So for right now, I got to make it work. And then hopefully soon I won't have to anymore.
Get out.
Yeah. What else did we have? Yeah, I think, and I bragged up Curtis a lot, and I wanted to make sure. Oh, yeah, Koss wants to know how the winters are there, man.
Better than Minnesota.
Almost non-existent.
It's not bad. It's wet. It rains a lot, and last year I guess was the worst winter as far as cold snap and then snow and ice that they've had in forever or some shit. I hear that everywhere I go. They had the coldest cold snap in Texas in whatever 3 years or some shit when I was there. I'm like, whatever. It's not bad. We had a couple of we had a long stretch of teens that makes life miserable when you live in a camper. But other than that, it was 40s, 30s Fahrenheit.
I realized, and it could be why I had felt so good this year, but I almost didn't experience winter this year, or very, very close.
Oh, like, my first winter in Texas, I'll never ever do sub-zero again. Like
I had 6 weeks of winter, which was still winter, but I mean, for me, considering I've been 5 months for the last few years, because I realized the other day on Christmas Eve, I was on the roof of my garage laying metal roofing in a t-shirt here. And that's unheard of for here. And what did I go? The 15th of March. So what's that? 60, 75 days later, I was in Tennessee. So I did not have a whole lot of winter this year. And that was a wonderful thing.
You were sweating the first day you got here because it was like 70.
100% I was. And I never stopped. And 3 days later, the trees were full of leaves. I show up, I can see the road from my cabin. And I go to an event, I come back, and the road's gone. The leaves come in. So that's what it's kind of like. My taste of it anyway for the 2 months I was there.
Yeah, it never gets cold enough. It never gets cold enough for all the leaves to drop. The majority of them do, but there's some that hold on. And
it's crazy.
It never freezes, really, the ground.
Well, how long would it have? Yeah, you know how long you need a frost in solid below below freezing temperatures to get any solidity to the ground, right?
Well, they were close this past year where we had week. We had a week. Was it like 4 days it didn't come above freezing or some shit? It was like 4 days where it didn't go above freezing. So it got close to pushing a frost in, but then it was
what it was.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they put the water line like they just step it in with a trencher.
Like, they just throw it on the ground, whatever. It's like, no, not that bad, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 inches. Like they took a spade shovel and made a little opening and pushed PVC into the ground.
Perma unfrost, as John Palmer says. That's the opposite. I mean, that's 4 inches in Tennessee and 40 friggin' feet in Alberta. So there's that. But man,
getting 4 inches in Tennessee. Now you're talking about backwoods butcher.
That's true. But then I have to, you ever know if you convert that to metric, it sounds like more, because that's like what, 10, 12 centimeters. Whew, man. Anyway,
I try not to confuse the women I'm with.
That's true. That's true. Did you get anything else you wanted to cover real quick, Brian, before we finish up?
Oh, we're gonna be talking about this and much, much more tomorrow night with Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown had a run-in with our America's finest, Tennessee's finest. I don't know, it was a sheriff.
Oh no!
On the way home, so he's going to tell that story. We're going to talk about kind of what he did wrong and that he knew better, and then we're going to talk about the food forest and SRF and stuff like that. But yeah, the main bulk of it is Carrie's adventure on the way home.
Man, I got to tune in for that. So Ian wants to know, what are the next projects for DQ, and which should actually be, at DG, because DQ's Dairy Queen and DG's Dollar General. So I mean, it could be either. But what are you looking forward to, and which project seems more daunting?
Haas is wondering what channel is it going to be on. It's going to be on both of ours, mine.
Okay.
Okay. At 6 Central tomorrow.
6 Central. Nice. Right.
So what's next? So immediately I gotta do a bunch of mushroom logs that I have prepped. Basically just put them together. We have to start pumping water up to the IBC tote after we figure out where it's going to be. I got to build a manifold off of that and put an RV pump on. So we have, and then plumb the main cabin and the bathhouse with some water. Got to build my cabin.
Yes, you
so
do.
I can get out there and take care of the place and stay on site. I don't know. I have a list on my phone that's like 17 miles long.
So I just thought of something completely not off topic, but we pump up to that IBC tote at the main cabin. It would be gravity fed from there down to the down with the nursery where everything is. If we get another IBC tote there that's say you set it up on 4 or 5 pallets and we run a hose, just a cheap couple of hoses over there, you pump it up to the IBC tote, you let it drain down to there. You don't have to haul water from the cabin all the way down.
Why wouldn't we just do what we did at the cabin with the creek and the nursery?
Well, we totally can. I mean, I guess that would be a permanent kind of solution, but I was just thinking something that would be way quicker than hopping in the stream and digging, a bunch more. But yeah, if you want to do that, we can do that too.
Yeah, we got a lot of need for water down there, especially when we get propagating trees and things. So we're gonna want that exact same setup. Well, pretty much. It's going to be really close to that same setup because we have a hill that spring comes out of too.
True.
It runs down a hill, so hopefully we can install that. But yeah, in the short term, I had planned on stretching that hose as far as it would go and filling buckets. And with that cart, it's all downhill, so it's not that big a deal. I actually picked up some lids for 5-gallon buckets for that very purpose.
Ah, perfect. And one more, no, I guess actually probably 3 more, I think 3 more 8x8 cabins, right? Is kind of our one more so Alice's cabin up the hill.
Yeah.
And then
that's what we're gonna shoot for. One more up the hill and then one at each of the 2 of the 3 campsites that we have.
Right.
So one on each of those and then expand them as needed or necessary that we find. If one needs a little more space for more of a couple or family or whatnot, if we need some more of the style like you have, as much room as in each spot, clear out some more campsites and have those available and work on planning a new event, I guess.
I'm excited.
Another event, the next event.
It's not a new event. It'll be the friggin' 3rd annual Gully Days is what it'll be. I remember a good buddy of mine years ago. He always said you cannot call something the first annual. He said it's a oxymoron, but he also said it's bad luck. And I've always stuck with me. I'm like, whenever somebody calls something the first annual, I'm like, don't presuppose here, folks, like that, But now this was the 2nd annual, but we can totally, when you're coming up to the 3rd annual, that becomes an event now. You've got like a stake in the calendar. You've got people who want to come. It becomes part of our habit. And I'm excited for the next one.
I'm just, yeah, I really want to make sure I find out all the details of the other event so we can decide if we're forking or not, as they say
Yes.
in the crypto world.
I love it. I'll find out soon. I think in the next month or so, Nicole and I have a call planned. So hopefully there'll be something.
Well, I mean, she's gonna have to make announcement for ticket sales and things like that. So
I mean, we're talking, yeah, at least there's a year between events now. And that's been my recommendation for a little while. I thought I love SRF, but I think SRF is the event. The fall SRF is the event that everybody wants to go to. And it has like a magnetism to it that draws people to it. And if you do it once a year, it becomes exclusive. You have a whole bunch of kind of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm excited. And Haas was saying, he was saying John was talking about an event at his place last night in December. And John's going to do a more laid back kind of social event at his place in December. And Becky and I are looking at maybe popping down for a couple of days to go to that. So if we do, you will see us for sure, which I'm excited about. We'll see. I don't know. You know me. I dream out loud way too much. So, but I guess that's part of my whatever. So, I wanted to throw in a couple of announcements where things are going over the next couple of days or next couple of weeks and that sort of thing. But I'll throw those in, and then Brian, you can plug your stuff again, even though everybody knows who we are. But you got to get you in there. You know, it might be, you never know. There could be somebody here that hasn't seen your ugly mug before, right? But so
only if they're lucky.
Yes. So this has been like a 2-month hiatus for me, and it's been refreshing. I was excited. I needed to do it because anyway, I'll go into that. But so going forward, for the time being, Thursday episodes are going to be every Thursday, hence the name Thursday episode. And the only way it's going to change is because Charlotte, it's always Charlotte's fault. But if her club team ends up practicing on Thursday nights, then it'll either be moved to earlier in the day on a Thursday or a different day. So then the Thursday show would be a Wednesday show or something. I don't know. But so you're going to get the regular This Week in Prepping show every week coming up, which is pretty exciting. This Sunday, there's going to be a 10 to 12 minute interview from Bear from Bear Independent that's going to come up. He talks about his experiences in North Carolina and kind of fighting against a little bit of the bullshit that he's been dealing with. So I'm excited about that. I was there, so I liked the interview anyway, but I think you guys will too. Got a bunch of Halloween episodes coming up real quick. I believe Worm's going to be coming on for 1 or 2, and then Becky and I are going to do a couple as well. So look out for those. Now, here's the big one. Not really, but Brian and I have talked about this a little. Oh, don't you drum roll, please. If you didn't know, I have a super secret, totally not super secret second channel called Workshop Radio. And we're actually streaming there right now. And I've been streaming there for about 18 months. I don't know. It's probably got about 500 subscribers or something. It's just there.
It's his mistress channel.
It is my mistress channel that nobody knows about, but everybody does. Hawkins told me about it. He's like, do you have another channel? I'm like, yeah, maybe. I just never said anything. So, and if you also noticed, a couple of months ago, I pared down everything that's on my main channel. And Brian and I have talked about this a bunch about, it seems to be the importance of having kind of a specific purpose to a channel, or anyway, a theme. So I pulled everything off that wasn't reviews and generator videos, because that has been my bread and butter for this channel. And that's what I've built around this channel. There's been lots of other things, but first and foremost, it's been that. So as of January 1st, the live streams are going to be moving strictly to there. So I'm going to make sure that everybody follows that channel. And I probably should have had a link to share at this point in the episode, but I didn't yet. So I will make sure that you do get one. And so that's where it's going to be going forward. So what you're going to end up getting there is you're going to get the MRE videos when I make them. You're going to get Delinquent Gully updates, at least for the time being. You're going to get basically anything, any interviews I do, anything that doesn't fit the main channel content. And I had to do it. And I talked to John about this. So the 2 months that I took off with no live streams, the channel completely blew up. I was going from, 3 to 4, maybe 500 subscribers a month to now 1,000, 1,200. This month is going to be over 2,000 new subscribers on this channel. And it had to be done. I have gone back and forth on pulling the Band-Aid off for so many years. I should have done it 3-4 years ago. It's like when I waited too long to change the name of the channel from All Seasons Maintenance to Toolman Tim's Workshop. Anyway, whatever. So it's going to be there. But here is the link. So we will share that for you. I will pin it. And yeah, make sure you guys follow that channel. That's where it's going to be. But in the meantime, all the live streams and the podcast are going to be here as well. And yeah, so that is that. That was the big announcement. But I wanted to say too, like, thanks for sticking with me. I know I shut down for 2 months. It was needed on multiple fronts. The biggest reason, and Brian knows this, is I'm a man with a single-minded purpose, and I really, really struggle with trying to go all in, balls in on 2 things at once. I know Brian's like, what? No, I didn't know that about you. But I needed the 2 months for Curtis and I.
I just don't know if I want to know about your balls that much.
Come on now, you know, but yeah, so the renos are completely underway. We're right to the end of the demolition, but the cool thing is it's kind of in coast mode now. I know where I'm at. I know what I need to do. I don't need to be up there for so many nights. And really, I just missed all you fuckers. Like, that's the biggest problem is there was like this big hole in me that only Brian could fill. Sorry, guys. But really, all kidding aside, I did. And I knew I needed to get back here. And being down in Tennessee and hanging out with all the Delinquents Gully, I said I didn't want to do anything further to kind of, you know. Oh, and Haas wants to know, am I still doing reviews? Absolutely. Yeah, so you'll get, that's the other thing, a weekly review on this main channel of some sort, either a generator-specific video or, you know, a review on something. And here's the other thing. If I have products that don't fit this channel, they're going to go on to the catch-all hodgepodge channel of Workshop Radio. That's going to be the community-based channel where all of the cool kids hang out. It's going to be the YouTube version of our Telegram group. And if you're not there, you should really join that too, because that's a pretty cool place to hang out. So yeah, that's it. That's what I wanted to tell you. I'm excited. I can't wait. So Sunday's going to be a pre-record of you'll see the episode, the interview I did with Bear for now. Going to be a few more little changes. And yeah, that's about it. As One Step Closer says, what happens in the gully stays in the gully. I hope.
Unless you go home and teach somebody something.
That's true. And then, there's no stopping it, you know?
Only the Diddy stuff.
Well, that's true. I mean, at that point, it's like when a celebrity opens up their OnlyFans. There's no stopping.
I can't believe that Curtis got that whole 55-gallon drum of baby oil up the hill. The only time I've seen one person handle that much baby oil in that short of a time was the story I can't tell from high school. So there's that. But yeah. So what do you think, Brian? It filled the kiddie pool so nicely.
It did, and it just glistened in that sun. So where are you heading this week? What do you got? What's the rest of this week for you?
I really don't know. It depends on if my depends on what the mechanic says about my truck, but I don't know.
I know. What's your show tomorrow? What do you got
after another? I'm just plugging along with my morning show. Kind of rolling into a different direction with that, talking mainly about whatever pops into my head the night before. And if I'm kicking around the internet or random topics submitted by listeners, and we go for an hour and have coffee together and laugh in the morning and maybe learn something, maybe bullshit about stuff and complain about life and get shit done. Monday through Friday morning, 6 a.m. Central on YouTube and Noster, and Hunter likes to watch on Twitch as a single solo viewer over there. I have nine followers on Twitch, I think, and I just stream there for Hunter so he can have private chat. And other than that, I got like Amazon storefront going on. If you have to shop on Amazon and you want to give Amazon your money, you should just give me some money too, because I like money. So you go to amazon.com/shop/The Lots Project and check out one of my videos and then do all your shopping, and I'll earn a little bit of kickback from that. Having fun with that, making review videos, just doing product videos, working at the gully, and
missing me.
It's just like a stack of shit, man. Like, I have so many things that are the next project I have to work on. and they're always overlapping. So
you're doing good. I'm proud of you. Friggin', yeah, you're doing the spaghetti method and it's working for you. So I love seeing it.
Yeah, but they're all coming around again. Like, that's the best part, because you put the work in to think about it, and then it's just not the right time, and then there is the right time.
You put it on autopilot, you let it make a little bit of money, you let it fester, you let it beat around in the back of your brain for a while. It becomes like that autopilot where your brain thinks about it, but it's not, you're not thinking about it. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, it's time for me to go back and, you know, upgrade. It's like I've done with the Amazon influencers like 3 times now. I set it, forget it, and then I go back to it, and then I improve it, you know? So, yeah.
Oh,
awesome.
And did I tell you I'm starting a new podcast too?
Well, you told me, but I don't believe you've told all our loyal listeners.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have another podcast soon because I don't have enough to fucking do. I got asked to join a podcast network. And so I spun up a new thing that is currently starting to be scheduled to recording, but it's all going to be pretty much pre-recorded. I might end up trying to stream it somewhere to capitalize on that a little bit, but shorter interview style, 15 minutes, 15 to 30 at most, hopefully, talking about how people got where they're at. Not their like, I want to talk to successful people and find out the trips they took to get there. Whether they always wanted to be what they want to do, or did they kind of take a detoured path and learn some lessons and change course, and, you know, just have a chat for 15, 20 minutes.
I love it. I can't wait. So kind of like 5 minutes with Jack, Haas says, except this will turn into 75 minutes with Brian.
Yeah, more like just talking about people's lives.
I love
it. But that's going to end up being like 3 episodes a week, probably, and pumping. It's through Podmatch, so lots of really cool guests, and they got a bunch of their higher caliber guests on board to do interviews. So should be fun.
Well, for me, this weekend is Thanksgiving. You're like, what? Oh yeah, that made up Canadian Thanksgiving holiday. So.
What is that on Friday?
Monday.
Oh, that's right. Is it the same date every year?
It's the same Monday every year.
Oh, it's the same day of the.
Yeah.
It's like the whatever
it's like what, the third Monday of the month or something. Third Monday of October. Yeah. So I asked the girls what they want for Thanksgiving since Becky's not here, and they said nachos. And I said, all right, well, we'll have a movie night and nachos, but we're putting ground turkey on it, so at least we can say we had turkey for Thanksgiving. So. But
so you do that made up thing there too?
What's that, turkey or Thanksgiving?
Yeah, that they serve turkey at Thanksgiving dinner with.
We sure do. We got all kinds of made up shit for that, man. But
did you have pilgrims and Indians?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean,
what's your Thanksgiving about?
I think we just copied it from you, but no. Actually, I looked at it. I followed it way down the path. And I believe ours comes from the British tradition. It's separate from your guys's because theirs is this. Anyway, it's kind of like that Boxing Day thing that we do, you know, it's a little bit, of course, everything we have comes from the British because, you know, you guys fought for your freedom and we waited around until the Queen got tired of us and kicked us out. So you're like, we can't afford you anymore. Get out of here, you lazy Canucks.
And you got that pedo on the money still, though.
Oh, we did. Well, we're working on it. Yeah. Oh, geez. Awful. But yeah, so for us, it's Thanksgiving weekend. Me and my girls are going to have some movie nights. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I'm going to head upstairs in a minute here and watch a movie with the girls tonight because I'm home and it's great to see them. And yeah, other than that, man, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.